What is crackin' shawties? It is me, your beloved crackhead. And I'm here with quite the banger today, actually. This is something that went down actually this year on Easter, right? And this is one of the few drug stories I have from my time being in a relationship, because when I was in a relationship, I didn't do a whole lot of drugs, all right? I was dating an LDS girl. So, I mean, doing drugs, not really, a good idea for being in a situation like that, okay? So, this is going to be like one of maybe like 2 or 3 stories I have. I mean, there's maybe a few more that I have from my this period of my life. And I was in this relationship from like February to June, I think it was. Yeah, February to June, I was in this relationship with a LDS girl, and this actually happened on Easter. So this was like, I think like halfway through our relationship, and if she knew this went down at the time, there would have been a problem, okay? Because according to her, I had been sober for like years. She didn't even know about like all the shit that I've been doing like at school. She only knew that I had done drugs in Washington a couple years ago, right? So she was completely unaware that I was even still a drug user. And at this point in my life, I was kind of just fiending for shit, right? Like, I mean, being in a relationship, it was kind of a distraction, which is nice, but this was during a week that my girlfriend was gone. You know, she was gone. She was with her family because it was like between semesters. This happened at the very start of like my 3rd semester at BYUI. So it was like kind of a transition phase for all the students. My girlfriend had been away. She was with her family, and she was gonna get back like the next day after Easter, right? So, or actually, I think she was gonna get back Easter evening, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Either way, so this story actually starts off the day before Easter this year, right? And I had hit up one of my friends. My friend had just gotten a new prescription for Wellbutrin, which I was not happy about because he used to be my Addy plug, right? He would plug the Adderall XR, and I would geek my fucking dick off that shit, right? But now he had Wellbutrin. His doctor decided, oh, well, fuck you. We're not going to give you amphetamines anymore for literally no reason. We're going to give you Wellbutrin instead, even though that shit is literally like, dude, it's like prescribing like the weakest possible medicine for ADHD. Like, that shit barely even does anything. And I'll get into that. But I had done some research, and I actually found out that people snort that shit, and it's supposed to be like cocaine, okay? It's supposed to kind of be like cocaine, allegedly. And I was excited. I was jumping for joy at that point when I found that out. He had told me what Wellbutrin was, like kind of like slightly, but I had done more research to see if we could actually get geeked off that shit. Cause me, being stupid me, I thought that shit could potentially be a little bit like Adderall, so I thought we might still be chilling. But we was not still chilling, gang. This shit was nothing, bro. So, but it did impact what happened the next day. It did mix pretty badly with my acid. So, but I'll get into that. I'm jumping ahead. I gotta stop jumping ahead. I'm geeked as fuck right now, so that's why I'm out here just all over the place. But yeah, dude, I just railed a line of Dexy. I'm feeling fucking phenomenal right now, dude. I'm feeling like a rock star. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so I had kind of done my research, and I was like, okay, listen here, boy. We'll call the friend who had this Wellbutrin, we'll call him Cameron. So Cameron had told me about his Wellbutrin, and I was like, all right, I did some research. I found out this shit can be like cocaine, so slide me like 8, right? Slide me 8 of these bitches. but I told him, like, I didn't quite know yet, so I was like, I'm not willing to pay, like, as much as I would for Adderalls. I was paying him a good chunk of change for Adderalls, dude, because he had the strong shits. He had the 30 milligram XR, so I was paying him, like, fucking $5 per capsule, dude. I was paying him a good amount because he had good shit. But now he had bad shit. And I didn't know it at the time. I had no idea what this shit was going to be like. But I wasn't really willing to pay a whole lot for some shit that I didn't even know what it was going to do, right? So I was like, okay, listen, I will throw you like $20 for 8 of them, right? Which usually $20 will get me like 4 of the Adderall XRs. But I was like, okay, I'm not willing to risk, or I'm not willing to throw down money on some shit that's literally like a risk. I don't know what this shit's going to do. And so he was like, all right, fair enough. And he definitely wasn't using the shit. He didn't even take the shit. I don't know what he did with those pills, dude. I don't know what he even does with them. Like, he doesn't take them. I don't know if he just, like, shoves them up his ass or whatever. I don't know if he just, like, you know, like, sells his entire script to a bunch of degenerate fiends. I don't know what the fuck he does with them, but he does not take them. So he didn't have anything better to do with them. So he was like, all right, I'll slide you 8 of these bitches for $20. Sounds lit. So I meet up with him, and this is when I'm, like, moving out of my parents' house. Like, we set up this deal. It was over spring break, and I was just moving out of my parents' house, and I was moving into my new apartment. And I had not gotten along too great with my family over vacation, right? Like, we had not had a very good relationship at this point, me and my parents. So I had been kind of struggling this whole vacation. We had gone to St. George, and it had been a struggle because me and my parents weren't really getting along at the time. I was a drug addict, and they didn't know that, but I acted like a drug addict, so I was kind of, I don't know, I really was not, and I regret this. I regret how I was. I feel like this spring break in particular, there's a lot of times where it's kind of been, like, on them, like, just them, like, not trusting me and being, you know, dicks to me. There's been times where it has been on them, but this time, this spring break, I feel like it was really my attitude that was the problem. You know, like, I really regretted that shit, and I've apologized to them. I've since made up, and we have a better relationship now, but at the time, it also had to do with my relationship because I was distancing myself from my family a lot. So this vacation in particular was not a pretty one, right? And I had come home and I was like, okay, I need to get fucked up because I just do not feel good about my life right now. So I hit up Cameron and I was like, yo, can you slide the Wellbutrins tonight? And he was like, yeah. So it was the same day I had moved into my apartment. So me and my family move into my apartment, and pretty much immediately after I move in, that's like after I moved in, we had planned to meet up. So I walk, you know, maybe fucking like a 30-minute walk to his house. And this is right after I'd crashed my fucking car, which surprisingly enough wasn't even when I was fucked up. I didn't even crash my car when I was fucked up. I crashed my car when I was with my girlfriend, and we were trying to make biscuits and gravy, and I don't know, we were like in a rush, and I like backed into a fucking pole in the parking garage. So that's a whole different thing though. I wasn't even fucked up. I kind of take pride in that, you know, like I crashed my car when I was sober. All right, I'm a responsible boy. Sorry, I just had a fucking amphetamine seizure right there. Yeah, so I had to walk to this kid's house. I'd walk to Cameron's house, and I pull up, and he throws me the 8 Wellbutrins, and I throw him the $20. And it was kind of like our tradition that I would get him a crumble cookie, too. So I brought him a crumble cookie, and I put the little $20 bill in the crumble cookie. And that's kind of how we'd get away with it, because his parents would be suspicious if he was just like, yo, I'm going to go, like, out and, like, meet this guy for 2 seconds. You know, like, we didn't want to draw suspicion, so what he had told his parents is, oh, he's going to give me a crumble cookie. You know, he told his parents I actually worked at Crumble, which, dude, I fucking wish, dude. I've heard all the benefits Crumble employees get. Dude, I fucking wish I worked at Crumble. I don't work at Crumble, okay? I work at a shit-ass sandwich shop that pays me like $9 an hour. But either way, so I bring this kid a Crumble cookie. I roll up the 20, put it in the little Crumble cookie box, slide it to him. We meet like down the street from his house because he also didn't want to just throw me pills in front of his house where his parents could see. So he kind of walks down the street and meets me like at the corner of his street, and he gives me these Wellbutrins, and I go back home. And I'm not really going to get too into the Wellbutrin part because it really wasn't anything. Like, I railed these bitches. I railed all 8 of them throughout the course of the night, and literally nothing happened. I didn't get geeked. All that happened is my heart rate was like a lot more intense. Like my heart was beating fucking fast, dude. Like I don't, it was like I just ran the pacer or some shit. Like it just felt like I was just like, I wasn't hyped up mentally, but it felt like my body was just like in full throttle. Like it felt like physically I was just like really pumped up, and like I could feel my heart racing, and I just stayed awake tweaking and like completely out of it. And it really was not anything to write home about, which is the shitty part, you know? Don't do Wellbutrin. It's not fun at all. It's not cool. It's not like a lit experience. I did not get lit off these Wellbutrins. I really just felt my heart rate go up. That's all that happened. Well, it's not all that happened, though, because the next day, because I also have HPPD, right? I've talked about this. I have HPPD. So the next day, I'm just laying in bed, and I tried so hard to sleep, but dude, I railed 8 Wellbutrins. I'm not sleeping for shit. And these are also the ones that last 24 hours. So I was in for a ride, gang. I was in for a fucking ride. And I am just like laying awake in bed. And the next day rolls around. You know, I'd spent the whole night just railing Wellbutrin. The next day rolls around. It's like 10 a.m. And I start to notice I'm seeing spiders all over my room. I'm seeing spiders. I am really like not okay with that, because that just like induces panic in my brain, and I was really susceptible to panic right now because I was off of so many fucking uppers, dude. Like it was like, you know, like not really like mental uppers, not really like, you know, amphetamines where it's like I'm like lit as fuck, I'm happy, I feel like I'm the shit, I feel like I'm a rock star, you know, like right now. It wasn't like that, but it was like still like the physical symptoms still made me really like anxious, right? So I was just like tweaking the fuck out in my room. Like, dude, I see spiders everywhere. Like I have floaters in my eyes, and I noticed that they would turn into spiders in my peripheral. And I was fucking tweaking. So I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm going to go on a walk. I don't want to be in my room right now. I feel really vulnerable when I'm like laying in bed. I feel like there's like spiders in my sheets and shit. So I get up and I go on a walk. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to be productive today. I was kind of looking for a new job at this time. I was kind of trying to, you know, quit the whole sandwich game. And I actually went to like a gas station nearby that I knew paid like $13 an hour, and I like asked them if they were hiring or some shit. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go look for a job today. And I went to this gas station, and it turns out they weren't hiring, so it was like whatever. But I noticed on my walk, it was really weird. I was like looking at the sidewalk in front of me, and I realized that like whenever like this is so hard to describe, but I would like imagine lines in the sidewalk, and then they would actually like appear. Like I would like draw a fucking like shape with my eyes on the sidewalk. I would like draw a shape with my like vision, and it would actually appear. It's so weird. It's so hard to describe, but it was like my vision was just kind of fucked. It was like weird. And I noticed when I was like standing at like the lights, when I was like waiting to cross, I would like look at the pavement, and it's almost like it was sinking in, you know? Like it's almost like there were some psychedelic effects to this Wellbutrin, but like not in a fun or good way at all. Like it was just like it just felt like I was like tweaking out. And this was like the first day of the semester, mind you. So I like went back home, and I sat on the couch next to my new roommate. I'll call him Alex. So I sat next to Alex, and he was just cranking some 90s on Fortnite. You know, he's a gamer, and he's also a stoner though. So he was like a mad into the weed type of guy. He was like really into it. He was a stoner, and so I felt comfortable kind of telling him about my past with drugs, and I was telling him about my HPPD because it was hitting me at this point. And so I kind of felt that like it made me more comfortable, you know, seeing spiders everywhere when I at least had someone to talk to about it. So I had kind of just gotten home, and I sat next to my roommate on the couch, and we was just talking, you know, getting to know each other a little bit because he's my new roommate. And I'm talking to Alex a little bit, and I'm like telling him like, yeah, I'm seeing spiders right now, dude. And I was telling him all about my HPPD and shit, and he was like, oh damn, that's like, I'm sorry, bro, that sounds, you know, kind of shitty. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of fucked. And then it's around 3 p.m. at this point, right? And my real plug hits me up, you know, not this fucking Cameron kid with the Wellbutrins, but my real plug, you know, the guy who buys shit off the dark web. We'll call him, I already referenced this guy, Lucas from the acid video, my first acid video. So Lucas, my guy who gets shit off the dark web, he hits me up and he's like, yo, I just got some fucking tabs and these are fire. So he hits me up and he tells me all about this acid he has. And I'm like, okay, I am intrigued, my man. I am like dead set on doing acid now. Cause I was kind of pissed that the Wellbutrins didn't do shit. So I was like, okay, well, now I can actually get fucked up. That's lit. And without even thinking of any drug interactions, without even doing any research, which if I did research, I would have learned that Wellbutrin and acid do not mix. You should not mix Wellbutrin and acid. And I would have known that if I did research, but I didn't. So I go and I fetch these tabs from fucking Lucas, and you know, just another 20-minute walk. You know, I was still getting used to having to walk everywhere because I just crashed my car like literally like the last couple days of my second semester, you know, before spring break. That's when I had crashed my car. So I was still getting used to walking, and I was like, I was not fucking with it, dude. I was so pissed off at this point in time. Like I was like this day was just not going well for me, dude. I had just done some foo-ass Wellbutrin, and now I have to walk literally everywhere, and I'm just not in a good mood, right? Which, I mean, realistically, you shouldn't really do acid when you're not in a good mood. But for me, sometimes, the thing is, acid, and people don't talk about this enough, actually, acid makes you so fucking happy, dude. It's so fucking, like, dude, acid is just, like, the euphoria you can get on acid is so fucking phenomenal, dude. I love acid. It makes you so happy and vibrant and so, like, dude, it's so fucking lit. I love how happy I get on acid. And, I go and I pick up these tabs, you know, it's like a 20-minute walk. And, I mean, I guess if I was in a bad enough mood, I wouldn't have gotten a euphoria from acid. But, I wasn't thinking like that, right? Like, I was just like, I wasn't thinking like, oh, acid is just going to intensify whatever I'm feeling right now. So maybe it's not a good idea to do this shit. But, I was just fiending for that euphoria that I usually get when I, you know, drop acid when I'm in a good mood. But I was kind of in a good mood already, like now, because I knew I was going to do acid. So usually, and that's why trips go so well for me, because usually when I'm dropping acid, I'm in a good mood because I'm dropping acid. So it's like, it usually goes okay. So I was like, okay, I'm going to drop this acid, and I'm just going to see where it takes me, because, I mean, it's acid, you know? I love acid. What can possibly go wrong, you know? I mean, I don't really like it as much as shrooms, but, I mean, my plug didn't have shrooms at this point, so it was acid or nothing. So I go to my plug, I get my acid, I get like a 5 strip, I throw him like $20, which that's a pretty good fucking price, actually, dude. Like a 5 strip for 20 bucks, dude, that's 4 on the tab. That's a good ass price. I don't think he was even like really making money on me, because he's my friend, so he just gives me like fucking acid for like really good prices and shit. Realistically, that's probably how much he paid for it. He probably just broke even on me. But yeah, he had gotten this whole sheet, and he throws me 5 of them, and he throws me a 5 strip, and I go home, and this shit's actually getting a little bit long, so I'll make like a part 2. But dude, I dropped this acid, and I tweaked the fuck out, because dude, the Wellbutrin got to me, dude. The Wellbutrin mixed so terribly with this acid. But I'll have to get into that in the next video, so stay tuned. All right.